Yeah, the best part of that though is an Eagles fan. Do I have any Eagles fans here today? All right. All right, so I don't want the other guys or the other team in green to be forgotten because I was sitting back here and I was listening to the poll, but I couldn't see all the seats. Everybody standing up. How many Jets fans do we have here? Oh, okay, a couple. But I'll tell you what, when Namath was there, they all loved him, right? They're all Jets. And my Giants fans, where are they? Oh, okay. Oh, not too bad. All right, any Cowboys fans here? Thank God. Jesus. Well, anyway, it's great to be here. This is part of my hometown. I live in Cherry Hill, been around here for 21 years. As Jerry had said, I'm Vince Papale. I'm that guy just like you. I'm the guy that chased a dream, the person who chased a dream. Everybody thought I was a little bit crazy. I probably was, but it was back then in the 70s, and I was given an opportunity. And that's what you're all about, about opportunities, all about growth. It's about taking it to the next level. Maybe doing something you've never done before, and that's what I did. And it's like so cool now because they made a movie about it. We'll talk about the movie. Any Wahlberg fans here? All right, all right. Well, look, before we get started, I got a video. It's pure Philly, so don't be pissed off at me. And but it's pretty cool. It's got that little Rocky thing going there. Thank you, Mike, for pulling that up really quick. And a big round of applause for Mike back there. He's behind the scenes, but let me tell you. He pulled this presentation together with me this morning about 8:15, so it's all good. Love this man. So here we go. I hope you like it, and it's called Invincible Journey.
Philadelphia, it's the city of brotherly love with a tough personality. A place that believes if you get knocked down, you better get up and knock someone else down. Philadelphia is also a place that loves its football team, the Eagles. This is a story about one very unusual football fan, a man who overcame huge odds to become a part of that team.
That's Franklin Field, and they are my season tickets when I was in college.
Becoming the oldest rookie at the time. In 1976, after losing his job and his marriage, 30-year-old Vince Papale, a die-hard season ticket holder, tried out for his team.
Unibrows were really
Could a
big
man his
back
age
then.
actually begin an NFL pro football career? It was unheard of and never happened before. No one believed he could do it. No one, that is, except Vince. For a 3-year period, Vince Papale overcame every obstacle in his path. And in doing that, he became Philadelphia's hometown hero. A man was the definition of invincible.
If I was playing
His
now, I'd
amazing
have gotten a
entry into the game
$25,000 fine for
and
that
the
day.
effect that story had on his hometown became the stuff of legend. So much that, years later, his career became the subject of a major motion picture starring Mark Wahlberg. This is the true story of Vince Papale, a Philadelphia icon who never gave up on his dreams and inspired a city to chase theirs. A man who refused to be conquered, defeated, or subdued. A man who truly is invincible.
Da-da-da. So I hope you like that. Thank you very much. Oh, cool. I wish I had something to do with that. But anyway, it's called my Invincible Journey. That's that journey that everybody has when people say that you can't do something. Hey, it's impossible, But you make the impossible possible. And then somebody say, well, it's unthinkable. Well, you make the unthinkable thinkable. So that's your invincible journey. And think of your invincible journeys. And a lot of people here in this room are starting to embark on one of those things, And how do you go about doing it? How do you get from level A to level Z? And I think maybe I'll try to give you a little game plan for that success and have a little fun along the way. But, Mount Everest, it's everybody's journey. But, it's all about this thing called a dream. And I dreamed that someday I'd be a Philadelphia Eagle. They all told me I was crazy. And I have this great quote. I wish I was smart enough to come up with something like that. But, it's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting. And I'm telling you what, ever since the movie came out, life has been really, really interesting. Has anybody seen the movie? Ah, cool. Great, great. How many haven't seen the movie? So what's your frickin' problem? There's no excuse. Come on. It was on Showtime. It was on Showtime last night. It was on HBO. Jeez, oh man, Netflix. Everything's on Netflix now, though. Apple TV. But there it is, the movie Invincible came out. Those who did, how many saw Rudy anyway? Rudy. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, Rudy gets a woo, right? Yeah, one tackle. Rudy. Jesus. And we've all seen Rocky, right? Yeah, of course. And there's that inevitable the comparison between me and Rocky. But I don't know, if you ever saw the movie, I cry every time I see the movie. And the movie's our movie. It really is our movie when somebody says you can't do it, and then you do get it done. And when the movie first came out, we did $30 million in the first week. The first 2 weeks, that was. We're going head-to-head with Snakes on a Plane. Yeah. You know where that plane wound up? Washington. So there we are, 30 million. And it's now been $1 billion. It's $1 billion production. And every time I see the movie, I cry. And I'll tell you why I cry. My kids are in the movie. It's a really cool scene. I'll show you that. I get no residuals or no commission whatsoever on that $1 billion. And it's bringing me to tears. That's why I cry. So that's why I cry. And everybody says, hey, man, how true is the movie? Well, I'll tell you about that in a bit. But, there was that inevitable comparison to Rocky, because Rocky and me, we were these 30-year-old dreamers, and I wound up making the Eagles. And that's how the movie got started, because in 2002, Rocky was turning 25 years old. The movie Rocky was turning 25. Monday Night Football says, hey, let's do a feature. NFL Films down in Mount Laurel. NFL Films does this feature. It's on Monday Night Football. And there it is, the inevitable comparison to Rocky. The next day, Hollywood's calling. And there it is. And then 3 years later, I get Mark Wahlberg. He comes on my little brother. And I got Wahlberg in my life. And the movie came out and it made the $1 billion. And I'm still crying. But anyway, there it is. But, Rocky, Sylvester Stallone's a pretty bright guy. He knows how to do sequels after sequels after sequels. What's Rambo? Is this Rambo 23 that's coming out now? But, whatever it was, he's got that formula, But like everybody out there, we're all contenders. We're all contenders. We all want to hopefully get to the next level. And Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, has this great quote, says, every champion was once a contender that refused to give up. And my parents refused to give up. I know you refused to give up. And this is one of the greatest quotes I've ever seen in the movies, a contender who refused to give up. So I'm going to go to another video here. And this one was done by Disney. And it tells a little bit more. You're going to see Mark Wahlberg. You'll see anybody from Philly knows Ray Didinger, the guy with the goofy Phillies hat. He was the general manager of the team that the day I had the tryout, I signed for $21,000. 21 grand in 1976. Guys are getting $21,000 per dropped pass now. $21,000 a sip is what they're getting. I got it for a season, and I had to give 20% to an agent. I'm like, you kidding me? So I had a couple of bucks left over, but had a good time. But I'm here with you. They made the movie, so it's all good. I hope you like it. Disney's I Am Invincible.
Hey, camera Mark! Mark, can I see you in position for a moment?
Everybody who's a Philadelphia Eagle fan who lives in the city knows who Vince Papale is.
To Vince Papale, neighborhood boy.
First of all, imagine what's going through my head, knowing that a movie's being made about me. I mean, how great is that?
This guy from the 700 level, he came running down the stairs and tackled
There's
everybody.
that hit again.
Special teams is an attitude, and Vince personified that.
It's all about his heart and his willingness to sacrifice himself for something that he ultimately just enjoys.
He said
to
that
do.
didn't hurt him.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
right.
be more happy to have Mark Wahlberg playing me. It's just pure passion and enthusiasm.
26 takes to get that shot right.
Overcome all those things.
That guy's still in the
and
hospital.
Really seeing the effect this guy had on the town. That's why we're making a movie about
That's
it.
producer?
I mean, it's that impossible.
He played like a
from New
guy who
Brunswick.
had been handed his dream. But however long it was going to last, when it was over,
That's
he didn't want to
Hollywood.
walk away and regret a second of it.
And that's real.
You had to be invincible to do what this guy did. He was invincible.
He is invincible.
I am invincible, and this is my story.
I thought I was Carrie Underwood there. Yeah, thank you very much. So, all right, ladies, see that beautiful woman behind me? That's my mother. Is that cool? 1937, Elmira Elizabeth Sage, Big Al, and that's what they called her, Big Al. How cool is that? She played shortstop for the St. Raphael Bobbies, and she traveled up and down the East Coast. I think that they got money for it. It was hardball that they were playing. It wasn't that fluffy League of Their Own, you know. This was hardball. Women back then were so tough, they wore cups. I mean, that's my mom right there. So I'm telling you, and she was the one that taught me to pass and catch and do all that stuff. And I chased her all the time because my father worked at Westinghouse, and I was on shift work. You know, so there was my mom. She was the one. She was the glue. My dad, as I said, was at Westinghouse. His father came over in Ellis Island in 1914 from Naples, and they settled right outside the Philly airport. And there's my father on his field of dreams, and he's a pig farmer. So people call me the son of a lot of things, right? And I mean, there's a lot of things. But I'm really proud to say I'm the son of a pig farmer, you know. So, and it's all good. And my dad had that same dream. But like my mother, education was a problem because they had to feed the family. They had to do something. And it was a Great Depression and World War II. You know, you go back in that history. So my mom and dad never got beyond the 8th grade. And they had my dad didn't go to the war because he was cleaning out the outhouse. They didn't have running water at the farm, at the pig farm. He's cleaning out the outhouse, got lye in his eye. His father wouldn't let him wash his eye out, and he became legally blind. And, you know, thank God, because if you know the butterfly effect, if he goes to World War II, I ain't talking to you, baby, you know. So, and that's what it is. And my mom, you know, 8th grade, same deal. I mean, you never get beyond the 8th grade. But there they were. They got married in 1914, 1940, and they begat me. You can do the math on that one. And that's the house I grew up in. It looks like a Monopoly board, doesn't it, on the right-hand side? Little housing project in Glen Olden. Anybody from Delaware County here around there? Yeah, Glen Olden. I'm from Glen Olden. And there it is, you know, and that's the house. My bedroom was no bigger than probably half of this stage that I'm on right now. But, you know, that was it. And, you know, I had a field of dreams, and that field of dreams is what that arrow is. You know, I wanted to play football in the worst way, but the problem was we didn't have a football team in the neighborhood. How many volunteers do we have here? Let me see all the volunteers. Raise your hand if you're a volunteer and volunteering for anything you do. You know, it's volunteerism, I think, that really keeps us intact and keeps us in touch with all the things that are going on. So somebody had to volunteer and put together a football team. So my dad volunteered. And there's a couple guys up there, they were volunteers. And this is a team that they formed so that my dad's, his little boy Vincey, could play football. And that's my dad doing a Cam Newton imitation with his hat up there. That's him right in the back, right? You know, coming right out of Westinghouse. And they formed that team, and it was the Glendale Indians, and my opportunity to be a Philadelphia Eagle started right then when I was about 10 or 11 years old. See that kid up there on the left? That's me. About 14, when I was 14, didn't even weigh 100 pounds, wasn't even 5 feet tall. Too small to play football. I tried playing soccer, but, you know, I kept getting a yellow card. What's a yellow card? And it's can I get a red card? You know, yellow. So, you know, I got a lot of red cards because I forgot, in soccer, I didn't realize that when you tackle somebody, you don't just slam them and take them to the ground, you know. You come in and you slide in very gracefully and kick the ball away, you know. Well, I wasn't that graceful kid. And so soccer and me didn't get along, but eventually I got the opportunity to play football. And I heard the chuckle, and I wanted to know what the Who's Nuts thing is. That's the shirt, because everybody thought I was crazy back then when I was trying out for the Eagles. That's the shirt that we used to get if we made a big hit on special teams. So if you're running downfield like I was, and somebody in the back of the room, I'd clock them, and a fumble comes up, and we recovered the fumble, I would get a Who's Nuts t-shirt. I mean, they were worth gold. You know, I had about 8 of them, which was really wild. So, but, you know, there it is, Who's Nuts, and that was all part of it. And then the nuts part is I get a guy like Mark Wahlberg. Any Wahlberg fans here again? You know, yeah. And I got some good Wahlberg stuff, but look at, you can see the comparison between the two of us, not too bad. You know, the hair, yeah, not too bad. You know, I was 6'2" back in the day. Mark was about 5'9". And, but doesn't make it, because his heart was so big. See the hair that he's got there? A 36-hour hair weave to put that thing in there, man. And to put a helmet on you, and the helmet, any of you guys that have played football here, you know what it's like to put a helmet on. in the summer, he was constantly scratching his head. It's like he had lice, you know. I felt bad for poor Mark, but there he was. He did all the shots, and there's Coach Dick Vermeil, who gave me the opportunity of a lifetime. So that was a casting call, but you know, it all came out. The movie came out in around Labor Day 13 years ago, and has done pretty well. Our movie has done pretty well, you know. So the thing I'm proud about, and I think the thing that you ought to be proud about in anything and everything you do, is impact that you make on life. So I'll show you the little impactful thing that I have, or I use this little skit. So my football card back in the 70s, whenever it was, this little kid from South Philly comes up, his name's Mario. He said, yo, Vinny. He says, I got your card here, man. He said, you only worth 19 cents. You know, when he gives me one of these little Italian things. I said, oh, you kidding me? So, and he says, you know, I got a Mickey Mantle. He's worth $50. He worked 19 cents. So what he does, he takes my card and he puts it right on the spokes of his bike. And remember how I used to do that? And that's what it was, you know. Well, guess what, Mario? You look at eBay right now. You check out that car, $25. 25. So that's impact. That's impact. Yo, Mario, come on over here. Let me talk to you. Mario's probably about 7 feet tall right now, or either that or in jail. But hey, this is gonna be fun. I'm coming off a 3-week. I've been away. I've been all over the world for the last 3 weeks, and today's it. And I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be a really lot of fun. All right. So we have some football fans here. Anybody Michigan fans? If you are, oh my God, you're having a rough year. You know, you should have known with that Army game. But anyway, you know, and then Wisconsin. Well, anyway, Michigan. You know, everybody knows the story about David and Goliath, right? So David is this little school called Appalachian State a few years ago. And they're playing against Goliath, and that's Michigan. And, of course, guess who won the game? David won that game. And you know what movie they watched the night before? Yeah, they didn't watch Rudy. No. No, they watched our movie. They watched Invincible. You know what Michigan watched? Titanic, for crying out loud. Could you? So, you know, you got to talk to the coach. So there it is. It's all about impact, and it's all about having a lot of fun. All right, so for those of you who haven't seen the movie, I'm going to show you the trailer to the movie, okay? And I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler because I made the team, okay? So I made the team, and they made a movie about it, okay? And that's the trailer, and I outkicked my coverage. I finally got the girl of my lifetime, and I'll tell you all about her. So here it is. It's the trailer of the movie, and I hope you like it. We'll do this right now. It's a 2-second delay. Hang in there. Makes me nervous every time.
Every Sunday, millions of fans experience the power and rush of NFL football. But in 1976,
Mighty Eagles, you're killing me!
for the Philadelphia Eagles and a fan named Vince Papale,
Vince, we've had some rough times, you and me.
Things are going to turn around.
it was time to do something
Welcome the new head football coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Mr. Dick Vermeil.
that had never been done before.
This coming Saturday, Philadelphia Eagles will hold open tryouts.
Now,
You got to try out this weekend.
Nobody's trying out.
He's 30 years old, for one thing.
the Eagles' biggest fan
So the one where Vince runs around everyone. Oh, man, my car!
is about to take a shot at a dream.
Even if you're down there for 1 hour, you're down there.
What brings you out here? Would it be an eagle, baby?
That's Tony Luke to you
I've seen
people in
glaciers move
Philly.
faster.
Where'd you play your college ball?
I didn't play college ball.
You mind me asking you how old you are?
If you don't mind me asking how old you are, Coach.
Shocking news from today's tryout. The Eagles have decided to invite one man to training camp, Philly's own Vince Papale.
In 1976,
To make this roster, you must throw away all fear.
a 30-year-old bartender
Excuse me, my name is spelled wrong.
Nothing personal. But is it really gonna matter?
who played only 1 year of high school football
You ain't going nowhere.
tried to become the NFL's most unlikely rookie.
How am I supposed to run all this?
Can't wear quarterback pads. You won't last a week wearing those.
Nothing personal. It's really going to matter.
Inspired by the incredible true story,
Vincent! You need to show me more than that, Paulie?
this This summer,
You have a story, my friend.
one man is
That's my
pursuing
little boy, Vinny.
an entire city's dreams.
Papale is not making this team, and I am not going to be the laughingstock among the owners.
When
Michael
I told
Dory?
you not to get your hopes up, didn't mean that I wasn't.
Mark Wahlberg, Greg Kinnear,
Let's go to work.
Invincible.
There it is. So I hope you liked it. So that's our movie. Where's John Donadio? You around somewhere, John? He would have made a great. Mark Wahlberg, don't you think? Yeah, could have done that. Put that little hair weave in there, been perfect for you. So, all right, where are we? So everybody asks, hey, how choose a movie? Look, it's not a documentary. They're going to mess around with you when you make that movie. Anybody here have a movie made about them lately? Or YouTube? Yeah, you got to be really careful, don't you? But anyway, so it's not a doc. They captured the journey, and that's what we wanted them to do. And then for all you Giants fans out there, the second most often asked question is your wife still a Giants fan? Now, look at me. I know I'm wearing blue because my wife, I try to please her. She said, look really good in blue, honey. So I'm wearing blue. Do you think that I bleed green still? Do you think I would marry? You'd have to give me a lobotomy to even think about going out with a Giants fan, letting alone marrying one, for crying out loud. But she did wear blue, and the beautiful Elizabeth Banks played Janet in the movie. I'll tell you a little bit of a background. This is Janet here. She was one of 9, just like my mom and dad were one of 9. And she was pretty much the fixer of the team. Went to Penn State, so she wore the blue there. And I put that little Penn State there with Elizabeth. That's our daughter, Gabriella, when we were shooting the movie. You'll see Gabby in a minute. And there's Janet up there, the youngest head coach ever in NCAA Division I history. At 21 years old, she started and coached the University of Pennsylvania gymnastics team, and that's my wife, Janet. Now, the question is, was she a Giants fan? No, not a Giants fan. Okay, wasn't that? But she was a fan of the United States. You see this beautiful American flag right here? She represented that flag. She represented you. She represented our country on that Olympic gymnastics team back then in the Munich days. And that's my wife, Janet, right there. I wish she could be here, but I had to do a little something in Chicago yesterday, and she got tied up because she's a realtor now. Janet is a member of the USA team, and that's her at the Olympic trials, all that poise and grace. And we lived, as I said, in Cherry Hill for 21 years. And she's after she got done doing her career as a coach, she became one of the top realtors on both sides of the river. So that's what Janet is doing today. So that's my wife, Janet. And as Jerry had said, they had me portrayed in the movie as a part-time bartender, substitute teacher. In reality, I was a school teacher at my alma mater, Interboro High School, right down there by the airport. And I was head track coach, assistant football coach. I said, you could tell that big hair was really in back then, and unibrows, so were, Madras belts. Remember the Madras belts and the Madras shirts and all that stuff. And I was, I just took a shot at the dream in 1976 and working on my master's degree. And, so I got that shot from Coach Vermeil. And, so everybody, you're a big dreamer. You can't do it. It'll never happen. You're too old. You're too this, you're too that. Listen, if you're going to dream, you might as well just dream big. You just go for it. Don't go for the small stuff. Just go for the Mount Everest of the world. So, if you saw the movie, they're the guys I played, I hung out with. I played in the rough touch leagues, not even 14, around 14 up there, and not even 100 pounds, and not even 5 feet tall. And the smile there was at training camps because my dad, it was at Widener. My dad was there after one of his days, if they weren't on strike at Westinghouse, because they were always striking back then. But there it is, and it's all about this thing called the opportunity. And that's why you're all here, working together and what you're doing. I know a little bit about finance. I know a debit's on the left and a credit's on the right. That's about it. But I actually taught business at Interboro. But, it's all about this thing called opportunity. In 76, that guy, Dick Vermeil, gave me the shot, and here I was a guy, my season tickets were up there. How can you do that? Has anybody ever just looked at something and you said, you know what, if I got the shot, I can do this, but you never think you're going to get the shot, right? Well, I got the shot, and it was given to me by that guy, Coach Dick Vermeil. So what I thought I'd do is, let's go back to 1976 when Dick Vermeil was there, and he's going to be talking to you about taking advantage of the opportunity of a lifetime. So I hope you like this.
Perhaps Philadelphia's most interesting tale was a little one, the saga of Rocky Balboa. Rocky was a ham and eggs boxer from South Philly who had just one goal, a chance to compete against the very best so that he could measure himself as a man. Rocky's story paralleled another group of city athletes, the Philadelphia Eagles. These men, like Rocky, were not always the most gifted players in the game, but in their first season under coach Dick Vermeil, they had something to prove, that they could do battle against anyone in football and come away with their heads held high. Outmanned but never out-hustled, the Eagles created their own spirit of '76. From this would come a story that they could look upon with encouragement and pride.
All right, here comes Coach talking to you about taking advantage of a great opportunity.
Gentlemen, the Philadelphia Eagles brought you here for one reason, to provide you with an opportunity to make an NFL football team. I hope to heck you're prepared to take advantage of this opportunity. The Philadelphia fans are the most loyal fans in the country, and they deserve the best. We're going to work you hard, teach you, and demand a lot of you physically. The Eagles will never be taken for granted this season, and you have approximately 5 to 6 weeks to prove whether you can play in this league. Best of luck.
Yeah, best of luck. He said that all the time, but here, you hear about opportunity, you talk about preparation and all that and getting it to the next level. If anybody is into slogans, he has some of the best slogans in the world and some of the best posters in the world. And the one we hated the most was the one at the top. It says, "Nobody ever drowned in sweat." I mean, how freaking ridiculous is that? I mean, that is so crazy. And we're at training camp, and we have this sign over our head as we're walking out at Widener. It's about 95 degrees, third or fourth week, full pads, the whole deal, full contact, and we're walking together like we're cattle. And we're just, smelling, going, oh no, we're going to be playing in the mud again. And then one guy comes down and he says, you know what? He can kill us, but he can't eat us, So that was, so nobody ever drowned in sweat. And then the other one, and I know that there's going to be a session after this on social media and in what you're doing. But, we didn't have social media back then. Computers were just about coming out in '76. But he always said, don't overload your mouth with your butt. And that's so true right now, and everything you're doing is don't overload your tweet or your Instagram, whatever it might be. But that's what it was when you were talking to the press. I'd be really careful about what you were doing. But this is it right here. It's an opportunity is worth to a person exactly what you put into it. And that's the big one right now, taking advantage of that opportunity. And I heard it being said in the room on the other side. I got that opportunity not from Dick Vermeil, but also because my high school football coach, right there. He had me coming out for track and field. He had me coming out for football. My senior year, I was a first-time senior and maybe 5'8", 165, 170 pounds. But this guy right here is maybe one of the most, aside from my parents and my father and Coach Vermeil, one of the most important persons in my life. How many people here in this room has been affected by somebody, a school teacher or a coach or something like that? Raise your hand, so you know the impact. And the reason I taught and coached again after that was to repay guys like him. And let me tell you why he was so important to me. Not because he was my coach. He was my mentor and he was my savior. And he was almost like my priest. I could go to confession with him. And I was carrying a heavy heart when I was 13 or 14 years old. I didn't lose anybody physically, but I lost my mother. I lost my mother mentally. I saw her being taken out of our house in a straitjacket when I was 13 years old, have her first nervous breakdown. Electric shock. That didn't help. Put her in a mental hospital. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. I'm sitting there, and I'm telling you, they're just coming up. And, oh, aren't you pretty, and aren't you cute? And Dad, I can't go here anymore. No, she was your mother. I said, please, Dad, don't do this to me. They bring her home, and now and then they put her on some drugs, whatever they were. And she had ringing of the ear, which didn't help. And so she has another nervous breakdown. And now that next time they tried insulin shock, they tried group therapy. That was just coming in the 50s and 60s. And then eventually, now I'm going through my formative years. My mother's a prescription drug addict, totally unaware of a lot of things that are going on around her. And that's what I had to deal with at home. And the fights and the arguments, not physical, but, the arguments were incredible. My dad working hard again, always on strike. We lost all our insurance, nothing gone, no money. All these bonds that we had for college for me and my sister were all gone to pay for the medical bills that had all run out. And we didn't really know where to go. So I had somewhere I had to go, and it was with athletics, and it's that guy right up there. So who's the person in your life is the one that is one of the most important persons in your life? And don't forget to give him a call. I just talked to George the other day, Coach Corner, and it was just the greatest thing in the world. He had his 85th birthday, and that's that guy. Are you that person too? Or if not, make sure that you let that person know who you are and what they've done for you. So now I'm trying out for the team. It's 30 years old. You can't do it. 30 years old, never been done before, didn't play college football. What makes you think you can go from track or whatever to the NFL, season ticket holder? You're crazy, man. Who comes back into my life? My coach, that same guy. And he gives me this quote: happy are those who dream dreams and are willing to pay the price to make their dreams come true. What's the key phrase in that quote back there? Paying the price. Thank you very much. Right, paying the price. That's what it is. You're a poser if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to drown in sweat, if you're not willing to do what needs to be done. And that's what it is. It's paying the price. So that's what it was, And too often we've all paid the price with those dreams. I think I got a couple of concussions, but I don't remember. I can't. That's not a doctor. That was really true. Somebody clocked me. I'll tell you who clocked me. It's a good story. But when you've got that dream, people are just, you have the dream killers. You got to beware of the dream killers. The intimidators. Hey, I've been here for 25 years. Look at me. And you're just coming in, and you're just a rookie. And I went through that mental and physical. They tried to intimidate me, but you can't be intimidated unless you allow yourself to be intimidated. So it's as simple as that. Well, you can't do it, Vince. Why can't you do it? Well, because you're too this and you're too that. And then, you don't have the skills. You're a track guy. How do you convert track over to football? It just can't be done. Oh, I don't see football on your resume. What? So I don't have a resume for football, but that's okay. It's too risky. You're going to get hurt. Do I look like a guy who wears a Who's Nuts t-shirt worry about getting hurt? But at Interborough, what they did is they gave me a leave of absence, and I knew that if they get this football crap, they're even saying it, get this football crap out of your head, and you have a job waiting for you in the fall. I said, I'm not going to be back, but I appreciate it. And they gave me the safety net, and guess what? I didn't come back. But, it's too risky. Well, it wasn't all that risky. And, negativity was flying all over because it was a bicentennial of the United States back then, but also we're in the midst of a really bad depression and a lot of stuff going on. And that's just the negativity of how I had to grow up and the things were going on there. So you got to get through it. But here's what it comes down to. It comes down to people resent you for maybe thinking a little bit out of the box and going to that next level and taking the risk and taking the dream. And that's fueled by their insecurity, and that insecurity is simply fueled by jealousy. And that's as simple as that. But you know what? In the end, you get the last laugh, don't you? And that's the ultimate last laugh. It's Toby Keith. How do you like me now? And that's basically what it is. And that last laugh, that picture there, I just wrote a book about it. It's on Amazon.com called Last Laugh, Vision to Victory, with that guy number 53 in the movie, my buddy for 40 years. And see that picture? There's no Cowboy fans. I wish there were so I could give it to you a little bit. See that up there? That's a Cowboy dropping a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. And our picture, that's Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that's where the last laugh is. That is so cool and badass. You can't even imagine, So pretty cool. And there's my baby Gabriella. She's 18 years old. And then they make the movie about us. Us, not just me. They make a movie. Look at all those great sports movies. The guys that did ours, they were the ones. I was texting Rudy yesterday because I was in Chicago doing an event. And we were having some fun. But the guys that did our movie did Miracle. They did, they did The Rookie up there. And they did Secretariat. They're a couple of the ones. And they did a lot of movies with Rock. But there it is. It's our movie. Yeah, this is cool gets. And we got Mark Wahlberg. Now, when you make that movie about you, have you ever thought about who's going to play you? Have you, who would play Jerry? Who would have played John, Think about that. I thought, look, Hugh Jackman would be the perfect me, Isn't that cool, right? Yeah, right. Or Bradley Cooper. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, that was me. They manscaped that. That was how, they just did a little Photoshop. That was really me. And, but, it's always sunny in Philadelphia, isn't it? And you know where this is coming from. Right, this is my boy Danny DeVito. That's what they said was going to play you. So, no, we didn't get Danny. We got this guy, my boy Mark Wahlberg. How cool is that, And there he is, and he's back there. We've got a new logo up there for his. I don't know if you saw it, but if you take your logo here and you stretch it out a little bit, that's what you come up with, and that's our boy Mark Wahlberg. And everybody says, do you spend any time with him? Are you still in touch with him? I'm always in touch with Mark. He grew up with our kids. He's the nicest guy in the world. He's got a family. I swear that we had a positive impact on him because he had 2 children, and he was living with his wife. Well, I mean, at that time, with the mother of the children. And my wife Janet just got right in his face. She said, "You got to be a role model to your kids because he hadn't even graduated from high school. You have to get your GSE, and you better get married." Now, yes, ma'am, yes. And when he got married, has a couple more kids. He got his equivalency, and now Mark is just one of the greatest guys that are out there. So that's it, And did we spend time with him? Yeah, man, we spent time. He was at our house in Cherry Hill, and I would be in his house there in Hollywood. And there it is, you saw that scene real quick in the movie where the kids, the little boy runs out in front of the ball and picks it up. That's my son, Vinny. And Gabriella, one of the reasons I cry in the movie, Gabriella was trying to get him killed, throwing the ball into the street, down in South Philly. But that was actually based on a scene that was recreated from something that really did happen to me prior to a game with the Washington Redskins, and there it is. But I had no idea who Mark Wahlberg was, right? Everybody says, "Oh, you got Mark from the Funky Bunch playing you, right?" And I said, "Mark." So my buddy, though, he takes it one step further. I said, "Yo, guess who's playing me?" He said, "Danny DeVito." I said, "No, Mark, Mark, No, Mark Wahlberg." I said, "Yeah." He says, "Oh," he says, "You're kidding me." He says, "You got Dirk Diggler playing you, man." I said, "What? Who's Dirk Diggler?" So I don't know, there's a club around here, got a little bar called Boogie Nights, but anyway, you look it up. That's the way he was saying he was doing. But I got Mark Wahlberg playing me, and we've been friends forever. I could text him now, and he'd be back to me in just a couple of seconds. So just a good guy and a great guy to be around. All right, I'm going to get serious for just a second, not that I haven't been serious, but here's a couple of the biggest hits, and I was telling you about that with the ice pack in my nose. The biggest hit I might have ever gotten other on the football field was about 18 years ago in 2001, and I found out that I had cancer. And so I'm very proud to say that I'm a cancer survivor for 18 years. And feeling pretty good. I've got a couple new knees, the lobotomy's on its way. But, and they took 18 inches right through my navel. No chemo, no radiation. I do a lot of work around the country on colon rectal cancer awareness, So, and it all happened because, and here you go, this is the pitch. I'm going to do this. I do it all the time. Is you really have to take care of yourself, whatever it might be. And whatever it is, Janet yesterday just did her full physical and did the screening. Get the screenings, do the things you've got to do, get the blood work, whatever it might be. If you guys, take that test, nobody wants to take it. I always say, just give it a shot, man. You might like it. So just take the goddamn, give it a run. You never know, I had a little pain in my back. Mike, remember this one, right? I had a little pain in my back, and, and they found my father's shoe up there in the last one. So we got that extracted, and I'm walking pretty straight right now, So the other biggest hit I had on the field, where's John? If John get himself back there. Okay, here we go. Let's imagine that this microphone right here is a player from the Oakland Raiders, and I'm ready to come in, and I'm just ready to drill him. And if you're back in the day when they were doing Scud missiles never hit. Well, this Scud missile hit, boom, right me in the side of the head. And my helmet switched around, and I got what's called ear hold. And the guys over top of me, Charles Phillips, "Hey, Vinny, come on, man. Come on, Rocky, let's go." And he's giving me the Rocky crap. So, you kidding me? So anyway, we're at Veterans Stadium. There's no way that I'm going to allow him to think that he knocked me out on my turf. So I go over to the bench. I've got this bewildered look on my face. Nothing looks familiar. Everything's in black and white. I thought the color was knocked out of my life. And they're all laughing at me. I mean, it wasn't the first time I got laughed at. And they're all laughing at me. I didn't recognize them. I was on the wrong bench. I was on the Raiders bench, for crying out loud. That Michael Jackson, can't make that stuff up. Really did happen. Yeah, I document it, right. Hi, oh, Jason Kelsey, they said that last week, right? I'm releasing the transcript today. I'm going to show you. So there it is. All right, so biggest hit, where are we now? Oh, Mark Wahlberg. We're into the fourth quarter, and we're moving through this thing pretty quick. This is fun. I promised you a little bit about Mark Wahlberg, and then I'll get serious, really serious at the very end. But Mark did an interview for the Reels channel, and then he and I sat on the field where we were filming the movie and did a little interview, and it's talking about just morphing yourself into something that people say that you're not. So I hope you like this.
It's just such a great role, you know. I love the underdog story, and I loved the guy, you know, the ordinary guy doing something impossible. But I was also emotional, you know. It gave so many people hope.
When's the last time you wore a tie?
But I had always grown up playing football, but I'd never put the pads on. I played a lot of sandlot football, and I was excited to put the pads on. And you know what you had to do? You had to go out there. You have to be good enough to look like you could play in the NFL. And, you know, you got to be able to go out there and hit, you know.
I think my makeup artist is going to get the Oscar for all the bruises and stuff, but they were all real.
Show him that thumb. What happened there?
No,
you've been banged up a little bit out
my
here.
My thumbnail ripped off yesterday. I was trying to protect this hand, which I got shattered and smashed for the second time. So I went to protect this hand with that hand. I got my thumbnail ripped all the way off. But, you know, part of the game.
Hey, they shoot horses, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning feeling like Nick Nolte from North Dallas 40. You know that first scene, he crawls out of bed in his underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt exactly like that this morning. But you know what? As soon as you get out there, you start stretching out.
Yeah.
You see the field.
Yeah.
That stuff goes out the window.
Yeah.
During production, Vince's children, Gabby and Vinny, received a cameo role in the movie that was both pivotal for Vince's
That was a great
character
pass by Gabby.
and Vince. The scene was based on true events that happened in 1977.
It's such a pivotal moment for Vince because he's about to lose hope, and he realizes that he's probably a little bit out of his league. But what he has, the whole entire team and organization seems to be lacking, and that's heart. And what he's done to inspire and give hope to his neighborhood and to the city of Philadelphia is pretty special. So when he sees that kid with 83 taped to his sweatshirt, you know, it's pretty special. It reminds him that, you know what, he's making a difference.
Making a difference, that's what it's all about in life. You know, you got to have heart, right? And see you in September. Where's my drummer? He's back there somewhere. Yeah, there he is, the drummer, and see you in September. You got to see it. All good stuff. So that's what we used to think about when we're going to be season ticket guys with the Eagles. I mean, season ticket holders and going to the Eagles game. All right, so I'm going to introduce you to my family real quickly. And, you know, what motivates you? What drives you? What's your why? What's the thing that really makes you go to that next level? Well, you know, if you know me, that's it. That picture, I call it the last picture because my wife, in case I didn't come out of the cancer surgery, she wanted to have that last picture like the Last Supper, you know. So there it is, and that was taken in 2001, 2 or 3 days before my surgery, right before Memorial Day in 2001. There it is, and that little girl with the braids on the right, well, there she is now, Gabriella, Syracuse grad, and went to Bishop Eustace Prep, by the way, Cherry Hill Schools, and Gabby now works for the 76ers as the in-game entertainment cum laude student, and I'm really proud of the fact that she's a big, and that she has a little sister in Camden. So that's our daughter, Gabriella. And there's Vinny. There's my little boy, Vinny, the kid with the long blonde hair. Well, he ain't such a little boy anymore. He doesn't have the blonde hair either. And that was us at the game just last week. And Vinny, University of Delaware, wide receiver there, honor student, finance major after 3.5 years, Dean's List all the way through. And Vinny right now has a shot in the NFL. He's got a lot of teams still thinking about bringing him in, and he got some great calls yesterday. He's probably going to wind up in the new league, the XFL. But that's our son, Vinny, you know. And it's all about that dream. And we always say in our house that in order to have that dream come true, you got to get in. You have to get into the game. But, you know, what motivates you? What drives you? Is it your family? Think about this. Is it caring? Obviously, it's caring. Do you like to challenge? It's got to be a very challenging job to have, especially when you're in a situation where all of a sudden you have a new leader, a new boss coming in because they got elected in and you have no control over that. You know, so you have to do there. That's that challenge you have to do with. You've got to be competitive in order to compete or to be on top of your game every day. And this was one of the things that I heard that was being said earlier, and it's this thing called respect. You know, what drives you and what takes you to the next level. You all have the potential in you to have something great come out, no matter where you are, if you're at the very top of the food chain or you're just coming in as a rookie. And potential, if you talk to Vermeil, said it's the greatest waste out there. And if you go to Vince Lombardi, he said it's something that ain't been done yet. So, you know, it's there, and it's never too late to get into the game. I don't care where you are and how old you are or how young you are. It's always get into the game because dreams are not lived on the sideline. And if you're a leader and you're working with somebody else and you have that rookie coming in, instead of intimidating, is maybe help somebody reach their full potential, catch them doing something right. All right, we're into the 2-minute drill. I need you to give me 5 one-word answers as what it takes to be invincible. How is it to be invincible with you and your team? Give me, just yell it out. What is it? Persistence, yes. What else? Courage, right. What else? Work, you got it. Sweat, right. What else? Passion, yes. What else? Discipline, love it. Okay, there's 5 of them right off the bat. So I had a conversation with John just a couple days ago when I was coming back from wherever I was coming back from, and we talked about some of the things that are what makes you invincible. Plus, I went into your website, and then I also have some guys that I'm very fond of, and they're SEAL Team 6 members, and I put them all together and came up with this in addition to the 5 we just got. First of all, you have to have confidence in yourself and what you're doing and confidence in your team and those that are around you. If you don't have that confidence, you're not going to go anywhere. Train, train, train. Not only train yourself to be the best, but those that you work with to be their best. And that's where the potential and helping somebody reach their full potential. Be a good teammate. Who do you play for? Do you play for the person next to you, or do you just play for yourself? I doubt you just play for yourself. You play for the entire team. Vision. The vision. The vision is a byproduct of the dream after you've applied your game plan. That's your vision. And you see it and apply it and attack it with passion. Caring. It's caring for your team, caring about people. That's certainly part of it. And unflinchable. And that's what Invincible is all about. You know, it's just being unflinchable. People not allowing you to do what you want to do and telling you can't be done. Accountability, I don't have to go any further than that because you're always being watched. You got the auditors coming in. I mean, there it is. That says all that, right? Humility. You know, where you are, make sure that you go through life with a little bit of humility. Be a great leader. No worry about that. Passion. You know, what's your role in playing with passion? Flexibility. Can you go from plan A to plan B to plan C? That's the flexibility part. And then the big key word here is trust, you know, and having that trust. So there it is. That's what being invincible is all about, the way I look at it. And then it takes teamwork to make the dream work. These guys are SEAL Team 6. And I spoke to them a couple years ago, and this was a quote that they had given me, and they gave me that picture, and they say, use this one, Vince, because each one of those men in SEAL Team 6, they have that oar, and everybody knows what their responsibility is when they pull that oar. And imagine that oar now as you and your team, and what's your responsibility? And are you pulling your oar with the same intensity and ferocity as your teammate there? And it takes teamwork to make the dream work. It's as simple as that. And then we're going to wrap it with this, and one last thing is just being an invincible teammate. You know, Janet and I, we're coaches. We talk a lot of stuff about what makes people come to the next level, and here's a few things. Just letting people know that you care. Fundamentals still work. You know, I mean, it really does still work. You know, the assets still on the left and the credits on the right, you know, and assets increase on the left. You know all that. I mean, it really comes back to that in spite of all the new programs that are out there. You know, and you're going to mess up every once in a while. You know, be accountable and fail forward. Learn from it, dust yourself off, and get back up. What's your role? Just talked about that. And play with passion. You know, there's a lot of things you can't control in life, but you can control your attitude. It takes no talent whatsoever to have good attitude. You can control your effort. You can control your hustle. You know, do you play for the teammate next to you? Is that important? And then, that's like I said, you know, hustle. You know, make second effort a part of your personality. Be a 1%er. Be that one that takes it to that next level. Forget about the other 99%ers that are always making excuses. You be the 1%er. And then respect your profession and the things that you do around you. And finally, win the day. Win today, because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And then finally, beware of the bucket of crabs. Great crabbing around here. If you're the top crab there and you're trying to get away from there, pull it off, what are all the other crabs doing? They're trying to pull you down, right? Yes, trying to pull you down. So don't be afraid to break away. I talk to kids about this all the time. Beware of the bucket of crabs, because you never know what it's going to be. And then finally, we're going to end with this one, is read the knuckles, man. You know, I'm tired of seeing you getting your butt whipped out there. Can't you see that if they're leaning forward, you'll be able to see their body language like this? If they're leaning back and they're not going to come and charge you, they're doing this. So you have to read the knuckles. And it's called Analyze, Adapt, and Achieve. You have a challenge. Get to know everything about that challenge, including yourself, and what your strengths and their strengths and weaknesses are. The next thing is being flexible, adaptability, and that's having an audible. You know, check Zura, whatever it is. You hear it all the time on TV now, but with the quarterback out there. And then finally, just get it done. Get it done. So in the movie, we put this whole thing to play, and it was called Check Zura. I hope you like it, and we're going to wrap it up with this.
Listen up! Tight punch! Keep it safe! Safe!
This is a huge play for both teams. Watch for the Giants to go for the block.
Coming in, baby! This is one! This is one! Overload right!
Come on.
They were going to come. They're not coming now. They're going to sit back.
What did he call?
That's the Analyze.
It appears the Eagles are calling a
Check Zura's the audible.
changing the play.
Jack! What the hell is he doing?
Here we go, Vince.
And Papale with a tremendous break on the ball.
Bubble! I got a T-shirt for that hit. All right, so this is Hollywood.
Come on, Vince.
And that's real. I had no idea what to do with the ball. I wasn't cool enough. I don't have a dance. I didn't want to spike it, you know. I gave it to the official.
Unbelievable. This is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about it, isn't it? Yeah, it is pretty cool, you know, when you think about it and have that movie made about you, you know, and the whole thing is, you know, what are you going to give back to what's going on out there? So continue to volunteer to do what you do. It's my buddy Gary Papale. We lost him a couple of years ago, but he always said, givers get. You get nothing better than giving to somebody else. And also the last dollar that you raise could be the dollar that saves a life or that finds the cure. So with that, there it is. Hold fast to dreams, because if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird. Thank you very much. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, GAFO. Thank you. Appreciate it. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it.